Hey, what's going on everybody? Welcome back. It's Travis here with JT Wealth. In today's video, we're going to touch on a subject that is near and dear to my heart and something that genuinely changed my life. We're going to do a two-part series. In today's video, we're going to talk about the 7 reasons you're still broke. And if you didn't know why you're broke, that's part of the problem. But we're going to address what those 7 things are that are causing you to end up in the miserable debt cycle that I was in up until just this year. Now, the second part of this video that I'm probably going to do tomorrow is how to get yourself out of the debt. But first and foremost, you have to understand what habits is putting you there in the first place. And you don't know what you don't know, so let's get into it. All right, so I think that intro kind of broke down exactly what we're going to talk about today and why. 7 reasons you're broke, or 7 reasons why you're not in the best situation you could be in, right? And now mind you, I'm not saying poor. Poor is a mindset that's going to be with you forever. Broke is a temporary situation you're in because of your own personal habits. All right, but before we dive right into the first reason, just your quick reminder that if you're looking for a new brokerage app, consider checking out the link in the description section down below to Webull. They're giving away 2 free stocks, and the first one you get just for signing up. And that stock is somewhere between $300 and $300. Now, they changed the way you get the second free stock. The second free stock you get just for depositing $5 into your account, and that stock is valued between $8,000 and $2,000. So a super easy way to get free money, whether you keep the stocks and invest them for the future, or you just wait a couple day period and then withdraw the money. Completely up to you, but it's free money, guys. So consider starting a new Webull account and get free money. All right, so like I said, we're gonna go over the 7 reasons you're broke. And there's my man, nothing in his pockets, nothing in his hands. That was me. That was me just a year ago. And I can tell you, I wrote down all of my debts at one point before I started to tackle them. And we'll get into which step that could be later. But when I really finally wrote it down, guys, I had about $115,000 in debt. That doesn't even count my house. It was absolutely frightening. And I knew I had to make a change because I knew the only person that was the problem was me. So the number one thing I learned, the number one reason I was broke, and maybe the number one reason you're broke, I spent more than I made. That might seem like basic math, right? If you spend more than you earn, you end up using credit or other versions of debt just to make up the difference. And by doing that, your life just keeps getting harder as you rack up more and more debt. And once you begin that cycle, it just gets worse and worse if you don't correct it and recognize the problem in the first place, right? When I ended up in the situation I was in for several years, I had to keep seeking out and taking only high-paying jobs. Oftentimes jobs that didn't give me any purpose or any feeling that I was doing something that mattered. It didn't feel a passion inside me. It was just working to pay my bills because I had so much debt that I couldn't take a job that I maybe would have loved or started a passion project that would have made me feel something and gotten excited about. I had to get up every day and go work my 9 to 5 just to make the income I needed to pay the debt for the stuff that I didn't even have anymore. Half the stuff that I was buying, I have nothing to show for it. It was miserable. Okay, the number 2 reason I found, I had absolutely no savings. Nothing whatsoever. And now you might be thinking to yourself, well, how do you have a savings account if all of your money is going to bills? Well, yeah, that's a fair question, but here's a better question. What are you gonna do the next time you get some bad luck and your car breaks down, you got a flat tire, you need new brakes, God forbid you end up in the hospital and you gotta pay medical bills. All of those type of emergent situations that occur, if you don't have a savings account, where do you think you're gonna put that debt? You're gonna put it on a credit card, and that credit card is gonna charge you somewhere between 18 and maybe 27% interest for this awful situation you're in. That's not helping you, that's making it worse. There's a survey that says that 1/4 of Americans have absolutely no emergency savings whatsoever. You need to think of your savings account as personal insurance. This is how you're going to handle the emergent situations in your life so that you don't need to borrow money that puts you into debt, and then you end up paying so much interest on that debt that it would just blow your mind if you really sat down and looked at how much you were going to pay over the next however many years you're stuck paying it. Now, of course, everybody out there is going to say, well, it's better to invest your money than have it in a savings account. And you're not wrong, okay? The rate you're going to get from investing is notably higher than what you're going to get from savings. But they always say you don't want to invest any money that you're going to have to take out in the next 5 to 7 years, right? So you need to have that emergency account to just handle whatever life throws at you. All of the emergent situations, at least 1, 3, maybe 5, 6 months of bills that you need to be able to handle in your personal household needs to be in that savings account so that you have a really strong buffer. Number 3, and man, this one was tough. It's those credit card habits. You know, we kind of just touched on what you would do if something bad happened. It's going to end up on your credit card, right? But what if you want something good? That's going to end up on your credit card too. Credit cards make everything super convenient. Unfortunately, they also make it so that you only have to pay the minimum balance monthly, and then you can just pay that card off in, I don't know, the next 20 years. And with mind-blowing interest rates, there's no wonder why they're letting you pay it off at the minimum for such a long period of time. They are making so much money off of you utilizing that credit card. Number 4, college loans. Okay, this is something that I don't think everybody has an issue with, of course, but for those of you who went to college, went to university, God forbid you've got an advanced degree, I know you are sitting on a pile of loans and Sally Mae is fast on your track. Check out this image, guys. This is scary. 74% of students who have college debt don't know how long they have to pay off their loans. 53% don't know what their monthly payment's going to be when they have to start making payments. 59% don't know how much of their income will go towards repayment, probably because you have no idea what kind of job you're going to get or how much you're going to make. 52% don't know if anyone co-signed their loans. So when I was getting ready to go to university, I remember my uncle telling me a funny joke, and it was something to the line of, I thought I was going to study philosophy, but then I just end up thinking deep thoughts on being broke. So you have to make sure that if you're going to school and if you're going to pay the exorbitant fees that educators charge you guys nowadays, you have to make sure that it's not just a passion, but a passion that's going to earn you a solid income so that you can at least be able to pay back the loans you're acquiring through your educational time frame. All right, number 5, I know for a fact we're offending somebody right now. Let's face it, your car's bougie. That's the bottom line. You can't afford that car. You might think you can, and you want to look like you can, but you don't need it. Yep, it sure beats public transportation, and nobody wants to go without a really cool car. It's a fine pleasure in life, right? The open road offers just freedom and enjoyment, and there's nothing like a nice fast car out, in the evening, just ripping up and down the roads to have a good time. But what is that costing you? And worse yet, is that car brand new? I can't even get on this box right now because anybody who's buying a brand new vehicle, if it's not for a business purpose or whatever the case may be, there's always the exception, right? But if you're buying a brand new vehicle, and God forbid you're buying a brand new vehicle every 3 to 4 years as you approach paying it off, you are just setting yourself up for so much failure as those cars depreciate so much in the first 2 to 3 years, it's not even funny. Number 6, and this one could be probably the most important. You don't have a budget. You've never actually sat down and wrote out what your debt is. You don't know how much you make versus how much you spend. So your assets to liabilities ratio is non-existent in your brain. All you know is you manage to make your payments every month, which is fine until you realize you have no savings account, you've got nothing invested, and your net worth is negative. So I'm going to put you to a challenge right now, guys. Anybody who's still watching this video, pause the video. Don't stop watching. Pause the video, or as soon as the video is done, grab a pen, grab a notebook, and start writing down every debt you have. You need to know this information. Everything, how much you spend on groceries, your cable bill, your electricity, your utilities, your car payment, your credit cards, your student loans, whatever bills you have, you need to write them all down. What the APR is, what the monthly payment is, and what the total due on the loan completely is, right? So that you know where you're sitting, so that you can start to make a plan whether you're going to deal with a debt snowball or debt avalanche, and that's something we're going to cover in the next video. But you have to 100% have a good thorough picture of your debt situation before you can make a plan to tackle it. And if you're married, this is even more important. You guys need to sit down and have an agreed upon plan through open communication with where you both sit financially, and you have to agree on how you're going to fix that. You can't have one party working to make debt go away and the other party spending like left and right out at Tiffany's, right? It just doesn't work like that. You have to be on the same page. So having that just feasible 100% plan and budget ready to rock and roll is going to make the next steps in your debt evolution go so much smoother. All right, and the seventh reason I could come up with for why you're broke is you are constantly missing out on compounding interest, guys. This is, the seventh wonder of the world, as it were. So here is just, you have to be considering this. Like I said, if you don't have savings and you don't have investments, then what you're doing is losing out on the potential for compounding interest to give you future wealth. Now check out this graph here. This is the power of compound interest in a very, very simplified way. Jack starts investing at, maybe 19, 20 years old, okay? And he starts investing little by little. We'll assume that both Jack and Blake are investing the exact same sum of money in the exact same frequency. But Jack doesn't start investing until he's 31, okay? So you've got a nice, 11, 12-year difference there? Look at the end state between both of these guys investing the exact same amount of money over almost the same time frame. Jack ends up with over $2.5 million, whereas Blake has less than $1.5 million. So that is over $1 million difference just by starting at 19 instead of 31. All right, guys, so there's your 7 reasons why you're broke. Now, you might have a situation that's, something you wouldn't have expected that happened that caused you to have bills that weren't kind of taken in today's video. And that happens, right? There's always an exception over the rules. But these main 7 points allowed me to take stock in what I was doing wrong with my personal debt situation and my personal financial illiteracy back in the day and start to really come up with a plan. Now tomorrow I'm going to do a video on exactly how to approach this debt situation so that if you are like I was in a massive amount of debt, you can start tackling it, right? And how do you eat an elephant? Just one bite at a time. You can't approach this in a nervous fashion. You can't approach this like you have to take care of it all in the next year. You just have to have a plan, and you have to come to terms with the fact that this is going to work. Okay? It's going to work because you're going to work to make it happen. Once you've got that in your head, it's just all downhill from there. You just have to start putting money where it needs to go and stopping yourself from making the same mistakes you've been making for the last couple of years, okay? So thank you so much for checking out today's video. Hopefully you connected with some of the things that I mentioned, some of my 7 reasons, and you know what, if you've never made any of these mistakes in your whole life, fantastic, start a YouTube channel, we need your help. But anyways, until next time, guys, I can't wait to put out the second video tomorrow and help fill in the blanks on how to get rid of this debt, because it's not as hard as you think, okay? But thank you so much for watching. Until next time, guys, bottoms up.